And these people that I live around have never had a thought about another human being in their life. They've never had a thought. And in fact, they wouldn't even be effective at what they do if they did. These agents and managers, they can't see you as a human being. They have to see you as a product. And that's what makes them good at what they do.
Of course.
They have to see you as a product.
You can't work in a slaughterhouse if you love cows.
That's correct.
Yes.
You can't pet the cow and go,
no.
Are you tired? Do you need some time off? How's your wife? You have to look at the cow and go, it's $100,000. Get on the plane. And if you don't like it, do drugs. So what happens is
they're the worst people I've ever known.
They're the worst.
The agents.
The agents are and they're always the black sheep of a very wealthy family who everyone else is successful. So it's always like you have a guy, when you have an agent, they go, my brother works at Goldman Sachs. My sister is a neurosurgeon and I do this because I have no talent or skills except I was born rich and I'm a sociopath. I think this is the thing that they all kind of relate on, whether they sue each other or dislike each other or have wars with each other in the press. And we tend to think that these are blood feuds and these are, and probably some of them are, but at the end of the day, they are all interested in retaining their level of power in American society and all over the world. And I think those people operate in a lot of different ways, but a huge way I believe that they operate is subverting the democratic process here and all over the world, meaning like the will of the people cannot get in the way of whatever they want to do. So I think they have to disguise that agenda in any way that they can. And you're watching it and listen, I think Israel should exist. I believe they have a right to exist. And they had been shipped.
Well, because they care.
Yeah.
Unlike you, they care.
Yeah.
They care about democracy.
Right. So all these people who kick their maid down the stairs.
I'm laughing because I grew up around people like that in Southern California, so I know you're right.
These people that scream and yell at people in restaurants when something's not macrobiotic or vegan. They apparently became all humanitarians in the span of one night. And then the Ukraine flags were all over the place. And if you asked any question about the Ukraine or what was going on or why Russia went in or why they would be in NATO.
Because they hate our freedoms.
Yeah, right. So it was the same kind of argument. It's the same very strange Manichaean
right,
good
totally,
and evil argument.
Totally right.
And you would just say, you're right. You're having a human reaction.
Yeah, loyalty is so important.
To a video game. You see? That's what's happening. You're having a human reaction to a video game, which is what it is. It's just everybody's plugged into this matrix. Nothing's real. What people do is real, like the comedy and the movies and the art and the whatever and the books and all the things that people create. But how people in the business handle them and respond to them is dictated 100% by the winds that blow in. So if the woke wind blows in, they go, we're doing woke. Get every fat woman, get every minority. They're on television. I want women so fat they can't breathe on their own. I want them in wheelchairs. I want them to have one leg and I want them to be indigenous. Go. And then when that makes no money, they go, great, white guys, let's do that. White guys are back. And then if people get mad again and they want to, they don't believe in it. The people there don't really believe in anything. It's just like they're just waiting to see which way they can go. Some of them like comedy. Like some of them kind of like comedy, and that's the best you could say for some of them. Have
you ever, in all your time in LA, experienced an authentic human emotion?
One time I went to a Thai restaurant, it was closed and it was very sad. It was. Usually you have to look at other races for human emotions. Yes. They're like Mexicans.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like who are going, usually coming out of a church or doing something like that. It's a very weird place. I've learned to love parts of it and hate parts of it. It's very different from where I lived. It's these vast canyons and it's, mountains very empty and it's very hollow. It was a crazy time. It was an insane time. NFTs, people were making millions of dollars. People were making all this money with Bitcoin. It was a complete house of cards. It was crazy. And I think Bitcoin's a good thing. I think having this decentralized currency is actually a really cool thing. But like everything else, the world that grew around it was a world of criminals and con artists and flim-flam artists and people that were full of shit and people that were just taking all this money and pumping all these things up, and just all these were stock scams and Ponzi schemes and stuff like that. Real estate to me seemed the most safe because I understood it. I get it. I understand people always need houses, want houses. They give you joy. They make you happy. There are things that promote other things in society that I think are good. Starting to understand the value of that, and that it isn't this world in which everybody's good or bad or perfect or not. There are people that make mistakes, and there's people that also are, you know, really good people that are not reflected by a certain action. You know what I mean? Like there's this idea that like people are entire people. They're not just one thing you did in life.
That's exactly right.
And I think that's going to be, I think that's what's the future, hopefully, is this nuance and complexity. Whereas we went through a period where it was very simple and everybody was like bad, good, ally, not enemy, you know? Now I think we're going to go, oh, that guy, and like take a beat and be like, what's she about? And take a breath. And I do it all the time with
like people, treating people as human beings.
Treating them with human beings. And I do it all the time with people that I